Could we be seeing Michael Myers on a Netflix show in the next 10 years? Halloween's approaching this year, and the uncertainty on where this franchise is going to be going in the next, say, 5 years even. I think a lot of us are thinking and theorizing what might come next, what they think might come next. And one thing that's come to mind for me anyway is the idea of it moving over to maybe like a video streaming service, like something a little bit more instant. Now, I'm not saying I'm a fan of this and I like the idea of that happening, but I feel like it could be the direction that we're going in. Because as much as I love the idea of a Michael Myers film being released in October in a big cinema with a big release in October, I think with the release of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it may cause a slight shift and movement in the direction of where these slashers, past and present, could go in the future. And my main reason for thinking this is just the generation of people that are coming up. You know, in terms of media and what we consume, everything is so instant, and I think this is something that people are getting used of. And while I love going to the cinema and having that experience with definitely horrors in particular, I do have to say that especially the Chainsaw Massacre film that's just come out, the fact that I could watch that in my own home, I could be comfortable, you know, I had some nice food with it, a few drinks, and then being able to rewatch it straight away and also go backwards and watch scenes so instantly after it came out was nicer. We've also seen that they have brought the Scream franchise to Netflix already, which, you know, I have watched that series, and to be honest, I feel like it was average at best. It was nowhere near the actual Scream films, and it definitely didn't follow any sort of storyline leading to them. It was like a complete, like, redo of why the guy wears the mask, his backstory. It gave the whole mask and outfit an original idea. Obviously, with Scream, it's the whole stab movie like costume. But with this, it's the character Brandon James. Obviously, he had a face disfiguration, and that was the reason he wore the mask and the reason that it's brought into the like killing. But again, to me, I wouldn't rank the series above any Scream film, but you know, it was an alright quick slasher to just sit and binge. And thinking especially about the Scream series, I think they go more the direction of like the whole anthology series that they were gonna do with Halloween. That would be something that I would be open to seeing, because it would be interesting to see how that whole anthology series idea would like put up now in this kind of generation. If this does happen, however, and we do get, let's say, a Netflix version of this, I kind of hope that they don't call it Halloween. We know it's related to Halloween, but I think maybe if they branded it as something a little bit different, but maybe Michael is mentioned in the series somehow. I know the idea of it not being called Halloween if it, say, did come as a series on like a Netflix or an Amazon. I know that sounds petty, and it's nothing against like Halloween 3, what we already have, because genuinely it's one of my favourite horror films from the 80s. I wouldn't actually be surprised if I had watched Halloween 3 more than I had watched Halloween 5. And I enjoy it. I think the kills are great. It's obviously different because it's not Michael, but I just think that film is actually a really good horror. But my thought is, I think when people see Halloween, they want Michael. You know, we know Michael's the cash cow of this entire franchise. And now going on to Michael, I think if he is brought to a video streaming platform solely with no cinema release, I worry for the future of just like the idea of the shape in general. I think that's going to get lost in like this Gen Z fuckfest of just shitty, easy horror films. And I really don't want Michael Myers to go into that category and almost like lose credibility a little bit. And the reason I say this is because I feel like even though I kind of enjoyed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 film, I will have a video coming on that tomorrow. It's more about a sequel because I didn't really want to review it, but I thought it was an okay slasher. Again, it's something you can enjoy watching. There's a lot of good kills in there, but for me, it's the idea of, again, it being branded as a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. I didn't think it added anything great to the legacy of Leatherface. And I'd worry that if we did get, let's say, Halloween films being brought straight to streaming services, we'd get kind of the same thing, like kind of an unfulfilling film that didn't really have any significance. And that's what makes me appreciate the trilogy that we're getting now, you know, regardless of, I know some people aren't fussed on the trilogy, they don't think it's great. But one thing I do genuinely think is I think James Jude Courtney and David Gordon Green are really adding to Michael Myers as a character. You know, he has got probably one of the most, if not the most, terrifying portrayals of Michael that I've ever seen. And don't get me wrong, I could be wrong and corrected on October 14th this year after watching Ends, but right now we still have that mystery of Michael, and I feel like they've actually brought it back better than some of the sequels and like follow-up films ever did. You know, the way that he's spoken about and explained in this trilogy, it's creepy again. It makes you feel uneasy, which is why I really appreciate this trilogy and why I'm glad that it's happening. But they're just some opinions on the Halloween franchise possibly coming to a video streaming service. I know that it's not definite or anything like that, and who knows where the franchise is going to go, but I've seen it brought up a little bit, obviously, again with Texas Chainsaw Massacre coming out. It's the wonder of whether other slashers are going to be brought into this kind of like instant streaming service solely. But let me know what you think in the comments below. I personally am at a point where I don't want Michael to be brought solely to it, but an anthology series brought to like a Netflix or an Amazon Prime, I'm interested in that. And yeah, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next